Welcome to my channel. I'm Bridget Renee Holiday. I'm a Beyond Quantum Healing Hypnosis practitioner. This video series is going to be all about my own personal BQH session journey and experiences. So stick around. It's going to be very interesting and multidimensional. This is part 2 of 7 of my personal BQH hypnosis journey experiences. And as with everything, as with anything, just accept what feels right for you. These are basically my truths based on my perception, my current perception, and my current consciousness expansion levels. So anything you hear within this entire series, if it does not resonate with you, that's fine. That's totally okay. We're all unique individuals. If that's the case, you can either turn it off or just listen with an open mind as if you're listening to a story. No judgment. We don't have time for that anymore in this day and age. Okay, so I'm going to do this one a little bit differently than the last one. I'll probably be checking my notes a lot more. Just because there's a lot of information here and there's a little bit of time lapsed for me between these, and it'll help me to get them out there to you guys a little bit faster if I can check my notes a little bit more often. So that said, the next thing on the other side of this video, you'll find, if you keep listening and keep watching, you'll find the audio to my actual session for this segment. So I've broken it up into segments because they last, anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, these sessions. And it's a really long time for anyone to try to sit and listen to all of it. Although if you want to, you can. But I just figured this would be easier on everybody. So I'm just going to get right into it. Okay, so Everett is my practitioner and he's guiding me. And just before this part that I'm going to talk about, he actually asked for my higher self to step in. And so in the beginning of this segment, he's actually asking me to look in the mirror and describe what I see or who I see. And the first thing I do when I look in the mirror, the first thing that I noticed is that I'm seeing energy body and then I'm seeing humanoid form. And I'm seeing energy body and then I'm seeing humanoid form. And then she lands on humanoid form. So I'm looking at myself and she is absolutely beautiful. She's got this kind of light teal, a little bit grayish skin color. She has no pores, so her skin is just flawless. And it looks a bit thicker than our skin, and it has kind of a sheen to it. And she's got these pointed elf ears, which are no surprise to me. I have a thing for elves and fairies, so if you know me, you know that. But what I kept feeling was this. I kept seeing and feeling and hearing that she is Pleiadian seated. And the words Pleiadian seated kept coming because basically I asked, who are you? And I hear Pleiadian seated. And then it just really felt Pleiadian, like Pleiadian energy to me. They always feel so joyful and light, and their vibration is super high, and they're a little bit playful, with a hint of maturity to them at the same time, which is always nice. And they have so much love, and that's exactly what it felt like. And I'm looking in the mirror, and she's super feminine. She's got high cheekbones, a slightly pointed chin, and she's just, beautiful in outside and in. The energetics are amazing. And so I kind of look down, and I, as her, because our consciousnesses are merged at this moment, I'm wearing a mandarin collared, like spandex looking jumpsuit thing. Almost, I guess it's like what it felt like it was like a uniform of some kind. And I started laughing because, spandex, y'all, really. But it wasn't spandex. It was their version of whatever that was. And I'm kind of laughing, and she's amused by me being amused by it. And, I kind of noticed that it's like amazingly comfortable, like more comfortable than probably anything, even leggings, here. And then it's breathable, and it's really soft, and it's really light. But I could tell that, like, it regulates your body temperature too, probably. Like, there was a technology built into it, which was really cool. And so then we move on, this entire time, I'm just going to kind of tell the story of our communications. But this entire time, you'll hear in the session, I'm being asked questions and I'm answering my practitioner, Everett. And at the same time, she and I are totally having like a conversation. And at first, I'm looking at myself as if our consciousnesses are merged. But then it's like we become two separate consciousnesses. You know what I'm trying to say. We become two separate consciousnesses. And we're communicating, but I can still feel my oneness with her. And there's this overarching feeling of oneness and connection throughout this entire communication, which is just, amazingly comfortable and comforting, because we feel so separate here. But every time I have like a meditative spirit journey, or obviously in this BQH session, this is a common theme for me, that this is the norm. Like, it feels like that's the norm, and what we're doing here is not the norm. There's that underlying feeling of, I know this, I've known this forever, it's who we are. So that said, he's prompting me, and I realize that she is what we would consider with our linear time, which we all know time and space is not really linear outside of the third and fourth dimensions, semi-fourth dimension. But I realize that she's a higher future version of me. So essentially, she is me, just another version of me. And that's always fun for me. I love the multidimensionality of all of this. It gets really interesting to me. And I think I'm prompted for her name from Everett at this point. And when she says her name, she said, Loria. But what came out and what I was feeling, it was like she was communicating telepathically with me, or consciousness to consciousness. So I could feel it, I could hear it, I could see it. And it was AHYEL. And then there is it's almost like the name overlapped. So there was a J, like almost like a JEH at the same time as an LOR, and then an IA. And I was trying to sound out what she was saying, because I was feeling the frequency and vibration of the name that she was giving me. And it was Loria, but there was a Loria, but they were saying it she was saying it exactly at the same time. And so I think even in my session out loud, I say something to the effect of, I don't think our vocal cords could do this, which they can't. And then I had this very strong feeling that I should be singing it, that it would make more sense and it would be more accurate if it was sung. I didn't sing it out loud. I was singing it actually in front of her. And it makes total sense to me, because the Pleiadians are all about frequency. I mean, any of the channels that channel Pleiadians will tell you they use different dialects here, different versions, like sometimes English, sometimes Australian, and you can hear some Southern in there sometimes too if you listen to them, and they bounce back and forth between all of these different, dialects, which represent frequency to them. And it's because they communicate via frequency, as well as light and other things, I'm sure too. So that just made perfect sense to me, being that she kept telling me she's Pleiadian. And I felt like she was a hybrid for sure. She said Pleiadian seated. I felt like she was actually from the Pleiades. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I also I had a very strong feeling, not just from her appearance, because there's actually a lot of different races in the Pleiades, but I felt like she was a Pleiadian hybrid as well. And I'm assuming there was an elfin mixture, but I didn't get more information on that, so that could be incorrect, or it could be right. I don't know. So let's look. Okay, so one of my things is I waver. We all have our things, right? My thing is, am I still as connected as I need to be? Am I still as connected as I need to be? Even though I know I'm super connected, and maybe, to other people I would appear really connected, but that's my thing. Like, we all have our little things, right? Our little insecurities, or whatever you want to call them, in this life, and that's one of them. And so she tells me, you're always connected with your higher self. You are your higher self, essentially. And even when you don't feel like you are 100% connected with your higher self. And she told me that that's why they continue to show me all of my other expressions or existences during this session, was basically so they could remind me of how expansive I am, and so that I would really, truly, deeply know my expansiveness, which I think I do most of the time, which is funny. You know, I feel very confident in that, but at the same time, there's got to be something rolled up into that, you know, little insecurity that I have, or they wouldn't be telling me that, right? So, I think at this point, you know, further down the road, Everett asks if, you know, she is one of my guides, and she basically starts explaining to me that she can assist me all the time, but she really only does if I ask, and that she's part of my collective, which made total sense to me, and then she went on later to say that I felt really strongly that she was impressing upon me that I need to raise my vibration and keep it raised, and that I have to lighten up and stop being so serious and heavy with everything, which is really funny because I feel like of a lot of my friends, I am actually the lightest in a lot of ways, but I do have this side to me that not everyone sees unless they've been friends with me for a really long time, that is pretty serious and pretty, you know, like, down to business when it comes to stuff. Like, I just get serious about things, and kind of and there's an intensity there, I guess you could say. And that she basically tells me I wasn't born to be so heavy and as serious as I am, and that I have to let go of all of the things that I allow to burden me and lower my vibration. And I'm like, well, that's easier said than done. And she laughs and she's like, we know. She's like, but this is the message that you need to hear right now. And then I'm like, okay. And then she starts to tell me that I have to stop pulling everyone else's energies into me. And because a lot of the energies that I pull into me, she starts showing me that that's kind of what humans do, especially people that are empathic and that have the kind of the consciousness expansion, or what we would used to call gift set, right? That the particular, you know, types of things that are in my blueprint. I don't want to really get into the word gift. You know, we use that, but it kind of makes, we use that, but it kind of makes things feel like I'm more special than you, and I don't feel that way at all. So anyway, there are specific things within my blueprints that when I am with people and communicating with them, I absorb their stuff. And I know that, and I do regular cleansings because of that, and I, you know, dissolve my cords and do all of that on the constant because I am very aware of that. But she's like, that's enough, you don't have to do that anymore, you know, you need to learn a better way. And I'm like, okay. And then she starts to tell me that she's helping me with abundance vibrations, as are others. And basically she's explaining this to me because about, I want to say a month before my session, I started asking to really get into the abundance lesson in life. That I kind of felt like that was my next step, is to really, really focus on abundance in all aspects. Financial, you know, and everything else, because abundance runs the gamut with all of the different types that you can experience, or that you are, essentially, right? And so that's something that I want to work on. And she reminded me, you know, that that's why she's here, and that she's basically here to assist with the elevation of vibration, and she's one of the main people that are helping me work on my abundance right now. And that was, you know, just confirmation and validation, basically. But there are two things that I want to talk about that were very interesting to me about this whole experience. So 2 nights before my session, I'm working and I get really focused. Like I said, there's that intensity and that seriousness to me. So I get really focused when I'm working on stuff. And I'm really, really deeply focused, and I'm not easily distracted when I'm in that state. And all of a sudden I get a visual of her face. And it lasts for seconds, right? It's not a very long thing. And I just kind of brush it off and keep going, which is odd because sometimes I get real into it and I'm like, who is this and what is it? But I didn't. The second night it happens again, and I just kind of keep going. And then when I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I just saw her for 2 nights in a row. And how cool and interesting it is, you know, and I had that very strong feeling that she was introducing herself and that it was going to be a validation for me, for my visual, for my inner sight. And it was a great validation for my inner sight. And then the second thing is, always record all of the information you can after your session. I had another experience on this session myself, where after the session, I didn't actually, and until I listened to it again, I didn't actually remember looking in the mirror. Once I listened to it again, then of course I remembered. And I was like, oh, I was her. But after the session, it was like, I only remembered communicating with her after we were not completely merged as consciousnesses. And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. But once I heard it, of course, I remembered all of it, right? But that just goes to show you, if I hadn't said it in the session, then it would have been lost, right? Because I didn't record it afterwards because I didn't remember it. But maybe it would have been lost. Maybe it would have come back at the perfect time, right? That's how things work. So, long story short, always record your sessions. And yeah, I think that's it for this one. So I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for watching. And, you know, all my love from my heart to yours. And if you want to stick around, coming up next is going to be the audio of my actual session. And otherwise, I'll say like and subscribe to let me know that you're into this and that you really like it. And click the notification bell to be notified of my, you know, newest videos. And I'll see you in the next one.
Let's do this. Let's just relax. Let's not go anywhere. Let's just stay in the space. But what we're going to do, just breathe in and out. And just breathe in and out. We're going to take a moment just to visualize in the space a mirror in front of us. And the image is a little hazy. Maybe we can't quite see what it is. As the haze clears, the image sharpens, clarity appears. Tell me what you see in the mirror.
I was seeing her the other day. That's funny. I'm kind of like an aqua grayish color. Really pretty energy. Maybe it feels Pleiadian, but I think that I'm an energy being, but I'm hearing it's Pleiadian seated or something like that. I'm an energy being, but I can see skin if I look.
What color is the skin?
It's like an aqua grayish color. Really pale, pretty, smooth. Kind of like Taylor's, but not as thick. So it has like a sheen to it. My features are very, I have pointy ears, awesome. My features are very, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's really beautiful. It's very feminine energy. It's just funny.
Are you more humanoid where you have two legs?
I'm both. Yeah, I definitely have legs and arms and hands. Can't see how many fingers I have. They're longer, it looks like. Maybe 4. They're arranged differently, but they're really pretty. She's wearing this, like, hilarious outfit. It's like a spandexy thing. But it looks like silk, feels like, I don't know what it feels like. It's kind of light colors, like white and green. A little bit of that silvery blue color.
How many eyes?
2. 2 really pretty eyes, thin nose, like thing, not the same as our nose, but similar. Pretty lips. She's really beautiful.
So I want you just to take a moment, just relax. Just take a deep breath in, exhale. And what we're going to do is we're going to clear our mind, and we're going to establish a connection with her. She's telepathic, and she can convey her thoughts clearly to you. Now, as you open your third eye to receive the message, you're going to speak the first thing that comes through, her first message to you.
She was already talking when you were doing that. I called for the Pleiadian's energy. She is part Pleiadian? I don't know how to describe what she's feeling. She's she's assisting me with that, and my connection, and my desire to lighten that. She is me too, I think. We have a lot of different beings.
So she's an expression of your consciousness.
It's a higher future one. Eloia, I don't know. I don't think our tongues can do that. Eloia. It's like I feel like I should sing it.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to, it's very interesting. I don't know if it's her name or if that's the vibration she wants me to do. Both maybe.
So now that we have a connection with her, what important messages does she have for you today? Just open your
I'm always connected with my higher self, and I don't think I am. I'm looking at it very limited, but I know my expansion. I think that's why I'm feeling that that's why they were showing me all my different expressions, and that I can view them at the beginning. She's just one that helps. I don't even ask her. She can assist me all the time, but she doesn't unless I ask, I think. That's what it feels like. She's part of my collective. I have to raise my vibration.
How?
Let me ask. What we're going to do today with the healing will help. I've built up a lot of blocks and such, and even though a lot of them are clear, I'm still holding them. I don't know how to release them. She says she's feeling more than saying. It's like I have to lighten up and stop being so heavy with everything. I wasn't born to be heavy, serious as I am. I have to let go of all the things that allowed to burden me or weigh me down.
What's the best way to let go?
I need to stop letting everybody else's energies pull into me. She's not here to help me about finances, I asked. Usually that's not why I'm here. She's helping me with abundance vibration, so are others. Where's my angel? I feel like I need my angel to help answer questions. My connection with her keeps shifting in and out.
Are you done here?
Maybe. I'm not really on serious anymore. I'm kind of just existing, talking to her in a random created space. I could still go there if I need to, just by thinking about it. Like, just thinking about Ceres made me stay in the Spire area. I'm not sure why I'm saying Spire. I think it's technology. I'm not sure what it's for though. But yeah, she's there, but she's kind of not there. I think my vibration is wavering with communication with her. I feel what she wants and what she's here for, though, and that's what I wanted, I think.
Okay. Alright, so I want you to relax.
It's really cool that she came, because I was thinking she was popping, this literal being was popping in my mind last night and the night before. I'd never seen her before. I thought it was just imagining.